in 2006, I had the opportunity to study abroad in South India.
South
India.
Wow.
For an entire semester. And that one was insane. That was a culture shock beyond belief. Because India lives like it's still 2,000 years ago. It really does. They still use technology. They catch rain and use rainwater to clean things. Their agriculture, their irrigation system is still the same system.
That's not British India though.
No, it's South India. South India. When the Aryans came and they started invading India, what happens is whenever Europeans come for some apparent reason, all the original people start moving south. So, and that's where they end up. And so the most darkest skinned peoples, in fact, there was a documentary called The Story of India by Michael Woods. I implore anybody to see that. And in that documentary, it was going through the history of India, and it found that there was a tribe in Tamil Nadu, and I was in the city of Tamil Nadu. And in that tribe, they had a tradition of marrying first cousins for thousands of years. And they traced that person's DNA to the first Indian migrant that came out of Africa into this area. Like that was the DNA, and they speak about it in the documentary. It was phenomenal because I was around that type of people. I was around the people whose original DNA was the first migrants who came from the East Africa, now Valley civilization, into the Indus Valley civilization. And I did work in anthropology out there.
Wow.
I did work in alternative education because majority of the people in these tribes, in these tribal communities, they deal with alternative education as opposed to public education. So they create a vocational education that's centered around an idea. And the idea is art. Let's say photography, like, because you got a camera in front of you, let's use that. And that'll be the school. And I will teach you math, and I will teach you science and everything like that, but we're focusing more on that. With the art of photography, the art of videography, and things of that nature.
And this is called alternative education.
This is a form of alternative education in South India. I've been to a community that they use the Indian martial arts system, the Kalani Payat, as the education for their community. And I studied with them. I studied the Indian martial arts system when I was out there. I've been to a community that takes garbage and they create art out of the garbage. I'm talking about you go there and they have like a sculpture, like a bicycle that was thrown away, and like just weird metals that you find in the garbage, and they bring it there and they do it with the kids. Right. Clay.
Is this something that the natives came up with, or is something that another culture came and implemented that into?
I think a lot of it traces back to the original form of education, which was apprenticeship. The early forms of education was apprenticeship. You come up to me, I need you, you're a carpenter, I have my son here, can you please take him on his, and that's some of the early forms of education that came out of tribal communities thousands of years ago. That and manhood training and womanhood training. These are tribal forms of education. You saw it in Roots, documentary Roots.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So you saw this in India actually,
in some shape, form, or fashion, because India, unfortunately, is still a developing nation, and there's a lot of poverty over there. It's not a third world nation, but it's damn near it in many of these communities. And many people are suffering from so much poverty that they can't do that. So and not all the communities have these alternative education. Like, there's a lot of communities that suffer. I saw that with my own eyes. I've been to a factory, and it's not what you think when I say factory, you think a warehouse. No, it's they still use child labor. It's illegal. This is illegal. They knew that we were coming, so the children were hanging around, but they weren't doing anything. But and the reason why we knew about that is because
it's illegal there.
It's illegal everywhere. You're not allowed. This is a United Nations. This is a world. That is a world crime. Children are not allowed. There's labor laws against child labor. And I just remember it was a match factory. They sit down and they make matches, and it made me rethink about like the littlest things like matches and how we take little things like that for granted. Because people used to go to the store, you get a pack of cigarettes, they give you matches, and you go, boom,
Right.
You know?
You don't even think about it.
You don't even think about it, And that kind of, I'm not even gonna lie, that messed my head up a lot to see that really did something to me here. Because I'm a father, and even this before I was even a father. But, we come from a nation that says our babies are the greatest. And to see that,
right.
and to feel powerless and not be able to do nothing.
Right.
There was nothing that I could do. What am I gonna do? Yeah, I can give them some dollars out of my pocket, but I don't have any real power in terms of changing the situation. You know what I mean? There's nothing that I can physically do that I can be like, all right, so I'm gonna buy all this land and I'm gonna create a school and you know what I mean? And even if I do that, I'm doing all the work. That doesn't mean that everybody's gonna follow suit.
Right.
It's an idealistic, unrealistic reality situation. It's an idealistic, unrealistic situation.
Idealistic, unrealistic.
It's unfortunate, but it's.
So, all right. So you went from India.
Yeah. 4 months I was out there.
4 months.
Out there for 4 months.
You said that was the craziest. Like
it was the most beautiful. I mean, I was in the jungles of Canada, and the jungles. I saw elephants taking baths right in front of me. Like, oh snap! Like, you know what I mean? And the elephant is taking a bath in the water, and just, the green out there was green. Like the forest green was really green. I was like, ooh, this is like I saw colors that were very extreme. I tasted food that was very extreme. Spices were a little too strong. I smelled things that were very extreme. Not it was good, not it was bad either. I smelled lemongrass from like, I don't want to say a mile, that would be exaggerating, but I know it was a long distance. I was like, yo, I smell lemongrass. And it was like, yeah, we're gonna come up a field in a little bit. Like the fact that I can smell that from that far away, like
that's an experience. That's an experience in itself.
Yeah. So India has that. India has that history. You know what I'm saying? India has that history. And I come to learn because we work a lot with a lot of groups, NGOs, non-government organizations, and I come to learn that a lot of these non-government organizations were being helped by the United Nations in the 60s, and that's what happened during the birth of the Green Revolution. And the Green Revolution killed a lot of their agriculture because the United States was selling subsidized pesticide seeds to these lands, and they were dehydrating the soil.
If Mecca did this.